indicators, right? So these are proprietary tools that we use to basically get a fundamental bias. So this is my step one in the two-step mechanical process. So we're looking at...
Just to clarify, indicator, I know the word means lagging and past, but yours is not an indicator, let's say.
So yes, because indicators, right, when people hear the word indicators, they know the normal indicators, the conventional indicators like RSI, Bollinger Bands, moving averages. So all of them are derived by price. But price is... they're lagging. Why? Because price has to move first for them to move, to follow, right? So metaphorically speaking, you're always late to the party because price has to move first, right? That's why I'm not saying then they don't work. They work indicators work sometimes, like any system works sometimes. The question is just, can you achieve consistency, right? That's always the goal. Do you want to make money sometimes, or do you want to achieve consistency, right? So I leave that question
my
out
comment
for the
on
audience.
Indicators is the analogy of a clock. If my watch is broken at 6:30 and it just doesn't move, well, twice a day it's 6:30. So even a broken clock is correct twice in a day.
I like that analogy. That makes sense. I've never heard that analogy, but I love that. I will take that in the future as well. I'll copy that from you.
But the indicators are lagging, and the way I kind of look at it is there's two issues I face with indicators. Number one, they're lagging, you're late to the party, as you said. So what I read from that is if you can just read price, these are kind of supporting you. It's like when you're learning to ride a bike, you have your training wheels. The indicators are there to guide you, support you. But once you know how to read price, you don't need them. Second of all is that what is causing the market to move? Well, causing the market to move, there's let's say two bases. It could be the way I look at it from a technical edge, which is liquidity is the fuel of the market. So when I'm seeing forms of manipulations and all of that, that's how I'll guide my technical entry. From your perspective, it's more like, well, what's driving the asset class is fundamental bias and so forth.
Exactly. Fundamentals drive price on a higher time frame.
Correct. Yes. And if there was no fundamental drivers, price would just be flat.
Exactly.
Like
100%.
Fundamentals is the reason price moves.
Exactly.
And I feel technicals and runs of liquidity are the vehicle to enable that move.
Yes.
But the indicators 100%. Therefore have no purpose. Because this is a causative factor, fundamental a causative factor. Runs of liquidity and primary drivers of price action are a causative factor. Indicators are correlation. They're just representing these two sides of it. So your custom-made tool probably is a more appropriate word.
So I would like to call it forecasting tools because they give you glimpse into the future, literally, right? They give you glimpse into the future.
How does that build, and what does it actually do for you in your two-step process?
Well, it gives me a fundamental bias, basically, whether I'm going to be bullish, bearish, or neutral in a certain market, right? And then if I'm neutral in a certain market, I completely stay away from that market because it's like, it gives me contradictive information. So I'm not trading it. So if I'm bullish or bearish, then I go to my step 2, where I use technicals to time the market. So fundamentals are lacking in terms of market timing because it just tells you the market's going to move in a certain direction, but not when, and not where, right? Well, it can tell you when, but not necessarily where, and it's difficult with fundamentals, where to place your entry, where to place your stop loss, right, and where to place your target. It's hard to define with fundamentals. So that's why I need to go to my step 2. If I'm bullish or bearish fundamentally, then I use technicals as well. And I use supply, I think you use also supply and demand, right? The original supply in demand. There are a lot of
rip-offs,
spin-offs, rebranded supply and demand, but I think I've seen your screenshots on Twitter, the trade ideas, the signals that you post, so I can tell that you also use the supply and demand strategy, which is great. So I use also, I would say, the original supply and demand strategy. So, and this is what I use to basically then time the market where can I place my set, basically, my entry, my stop loss, and my target. And during the weekend, just to, because you asked, so how do I do it? So for me, it's pretty easy and quick. I go through all my markets, maybe it's 30 to 40 markets that I go through, but I just look at my fundamental tools, right? And this goes really quick. It takes me maybe per market